In this video, I'm going to be reviewing and unveiling my favorite pump of all time. It's called the DP-4000. And I have this bad boy right here. Now, this is like the Cadillacs, the Ferraris, the fucking Bugattis of penis pumps. This shit is pretty fucking expensive. But hey, kind of a spoiler, I use this bad boy just about every fucking day. It's amazing. So I want to go through what it is, my routine, my results, some tips and tricks. It's going to be a good informative video. And if you want to know what, in my opinion, is the best penis pump of all time, stay tuned. Okay, so first I want to do a little bit of a review as to what is the DP-4000. So I got this bad boy about 3 years ago. So according here to the date, I got it in 12/03/2020. And I remember hearing about this back in the old PE gym forums. I think they're gone now, or like I try to visit them and they're just not the same that they used to be. But this is something that a lot of the guys talked about back in the days in that forum. I think it was also mentioned in the Thunder's Place forums, which I visited a little bit less frequently. The PE gym was the one that I visited a little bit more. So that's how I came about it. So to me, you know, I know how to program things, and I heard, oh, it's a programmable pump, and so you kind of program whatever you want. And the reason why this really interested me is because you know, also in the Peyronie's forums, there's talks of a protocol in which you basically overinflate, you go back down, you overinflate, you go back down, and this helps break up the fibrotic, the scar tissue of the plaque, of the Peyronie's plaque. There's also talks, and it's something that I want to do a different video about, that post pumping is actually more effective when it comes to penis enlargement. Now, there's no studies on this. It's just something that I remember there was like an old thread on Thunder's Place, which I gotta find and do a video on it. But basically it talked about how post pumping, basically you go up and down pretty quickly, can actually provide better results when it comes to penis enlargement. I was also very interested in about that, but more so in the things that there are studies on is that with post pumping, you're basically mimicking nighttime erections. So when you're asleep, when you're in deep sleep, you're basically your body produces nighttime erections, and they're basically kind of goes up, then down, then up and down, and this basically brings fresh oxygen into the penis, and it can last like a few minutes. It's not necessarily like post pumping, but I wanted something that mimicked that without basically like doing it all manually, because if you're doing it just by hand, so basically if you're just using like a regular pump, so this is like the regular LeLuv pump, you know, you got a pump and then there's a little release here, and so you got a pump, you got a release, and it's very cumbersome just having to do that. You know, you gotta basically kind of have one hand free. You could do it, but it's just very cumbersome, and just to me very ineffective. Like I wanted something where I could just kind of have both of my hands free, or at least you know, in this case neither of my hands would be free, because one I'm holding the cylinder and the other one I'm doing the pumping, releasing, you know, and it's very hard to get at it, like, you know, with one hand. So it's not easy to do, right? To do the pumping and the releasing effectively with a regular hand pump. So I wanted something that was way more effective, and that's how I first heard of the penis pump. Also around this time, I was able to, you know, get some extra money to basically put into my PE journey and to fixing my penis. I had already bought like previously other pumps, so I already had like the LeLuv pump. I had already had the back correct. I had bought like some other cheaper Amazon pumps that, you know, are basically garbage. But you know, I'll do other reviews on those later. But yeah, that's the beauty. Let's check out their website and you know, let's go through a review of that. Okay, so this is the DP-4000 website. So you know, it looks a little bit old, but yeah, let's go through this. So this is what it looks like. So let's expand the picture. So I'll go like a bit of an unboxing right now, so I don't want to dive too much into it, but it's basically, this is the main unit. It comes with a power supply and a hose here, and the instruction manual with the CD-ROM. So you can tell this was made a little bit back in the day when they would still give you CD-ROMs for the software. It was basically released back in 2013, so about 10 years ago, and the design really hasn't, the software hasn't really been changed much since then. I do use Windows 10, and it works perfectly fine with that. But look at the price. It's $500, so it's about like $500 and I believe like $20 altogether with the shipping. And you can also get a cylinder, but I wouldn't bother just getting the cylinder. Like I used the basic LeLuv cylinder, and that works perfectly fine. You know, here's a bit of a description. It's the most advanced PE system. So basically you can program it, has 10 different vacuum levels. I'll go through the software in a little bit. And so yeah, so here's a little bit of the specs. So it was last updated in I guess the software was released in 2012. Has the USB cable, and then it has a maximum of 13.5 Hg, which is more than enough. You can see that they've upgraded up to Windows 10. I don't know if it works with Windows 11. So if you're out there and you have Windows 11, try downloading the software and opening it up before buying it, just to make sure that you can use it. You can download the software here. Basically, it does have a warranty. And you can have free software upgrades. Like the software itself is pretty is free essentially. So yeah, that's a little bit as to what it is. Next, let's do an unboxing. This is the packaging that it actually came with. So you can see fairly discreet. I know a lot of you guys care about that. I really don't give a shit. It's actually here in California, up in Lancaster. Yeah, comes with this. I guess the shipping was $8.25, and this is what it comes with. So I still keep it in the box. So this is the main unit. Okay, so this is the main unit. You can sort of see it here. It has a display, has an on-off switch, has the power, and it has the USB here that you can use. I keep mine pretty clean. There's a little bit of dirt here, but otherwise I keep it very, very clean. I take care of this. It's an electronic device, so you make sure you don't get it wet. Definitely, if you're trying to do like water pumping with it, I wouldn't advise, because water can get into it and mess it up. Which I'll talk about. Basically one of the downsides is you have to be at least close to your computer. You got to have a stable surface, a hard surface. And so this is the USB cable that it comes with. So you basically just connect it here, connect it to the right here, from here, and then you can connect it to the computer. So this is the spot that I have it on my desk, and I just connect it to the computer. A couple more things. So here it comes with the power supply. It's a relatively short power supply, so I have an extension that I use, but you basically just plug it in. And so you plug it in, and then here you have the display, and turn it on, and there you can see that it comes on. So when it's connected to a PC, you can use the software to run it dynamically. You can also disconnect it. So if you disconnect it, it basically runs the pre-programmed one. I don't have a pre-programmed one, but you can actually save it. So you can save the routines on the device, and basically you disconnect it and you can use it. Now I prefer just attaching it to the computer, just using it there. So this is the host that it originally came with here. And the problem with this is that it didn't work very well with my LeLuv cylinder. So I have this LeLuv cylinder 2.125. This is the one that I use every day. I don't like to use the ones that are too wide, because I just don't want to cause too much edema. A lot of it is for rehabilitation, a little bit of girth growth, but a lot of it is for pumping, for girth, for sex. And yeah, so that was one of the problems. So what I did is I basically, and the reason it doesn't work is because if you just attach this to the LeLuv one, if you just attach it, it's gonna leak. So it's not gonna create a vacuum seal here. So even though it looks like it fits, it actually doesn't create a good fit. Funny enough, I have a smaller cylinder. So this is the one that I first started with. You can tell it's been through a lot, but 1.75. That's the one I used to use before. And if I recall correctly, this actually worked with it. But once I moved up to the 2.125, it didn't work anymore. I don't really remember, to be quite honest, what the issue was. What I do remember is I ended up buying like an extra vacuum hose here, and I had to buy the custom fittings to make sure that it's one fitting here that goes to the machine. And that's why I have this tape here. This tape is not because there's a leak there, but this tape is because this tells me like this is the one that's going to go into the machine. So you basically connect it to the machine. And the other one, basically you connect it to the cylinder here. So I'll leave links to the adapters. Unfortunately, I don't recall exactly like what I had to do. I just have it in my Amazon history. What are the adapters that I had to buy? So if you buy those, you should be fine. And you buy the extra hose, and you'll be perfectly fine. So what I did is I bought the hose. I took off one of the adapters. I put in one of the custom adapters that I bought, and that worked out perfectly. So this is my setup here, which I'll come back to. Yeah. So here's the extra hose, which I don't use. And it comes with the CD software. And it also came with like an actual printed out manual, which I don't use. I lost it some while ago, and I just if you need the manual, it's always available online. So there you go. So that's how you use it. So I want to do a little bit of a demo. as to how into the software and how it works, and then I'll also touch on my routine a little bit. Okay, so here I'm gonna do a brief I'm gonna do a demonstration. I'm going to show you how I use it, my routine, and I'll go through the software. Before I do that, let's just look at the software first. Okay, so first I want to do a little bit of an overview as to into the software. So essentially you have 3 sections. This is where you program it. This is when you're running it, and then when you open this, when you click on this little question mark, it opens up the manual. So here you can click on this. It actually doesn't, I've never actually clicked on this and it doesn't actually do anything. I have Chrome installed, then nothing happens. So just gives you a little bit of information, you know, about the company and how to contact them. So these are the 2 main things. So first we'll go through the programming part. So you can program it through this, and basically it has 10 steps. And here you can decide like how much you want to start. So let's say I want to start at 3 and I want to do that for 10 seconds, right? And then I want to go up to 7 and I want to do that for 60 seconds. And basically if I do this, it shows you the graph as to like into the routine, and basically it's going to cycle here between 3 and 7. So it's going to do 3 for 10 seconds, then 7 for 60 seconds, and it's going to basically cycle. And you can add each steps, and basically once the last step is done, it restarts over. So let's say that I want to take a rest, you know, go down to 0, and let's take a rest for like, you know, 10 seconds. You can do that, and basically that's how you do it. So you know, when it's talking about programming, it's not like you're writing a programming language or anything like that, right? Like it's just you're basically just designing it here with this interface. This device port, it should do it automatically. I don't have to worry. It's just like I just plug it in, it does. You can clear it, so it goes back to the normal. You can save to a file, which is great. You can load a file and you can save to the device. And when you run it, this becomes basically more relevant. So what I do is I have my own set of routines that I have here. So here, let's start doing a demo. Okay, so yeah, as I mentioned, you can save it to the device. You can also save it to a file. I just work with the files, it's just more easier in my opinion. So these files are just text files. You can open them with a text editor, and you can sort of fiddle in there if you like. I don't really do that. I just, you know, but you can if you want. So this is my start of a routine. I have other ones, right? So I have like, you know, sort of more advanced ones. But the one that I use every day is this one that I call start. And this is because this is how I start. So essentially I just do a vacuum of 2 for 2 seconds, go up to 3. And I use this to basically just kind of get everything started. So here I have our old friend, Mr. Slappy. So hey, this video is gonna get it's not gonna ever be monetized. It's also gonna be age restricted. So make sure you support me by subscribing, hitting that like button. You know, share this with your friends, share this in the community if you like this video, because I'm giving you my personal routine that I use every day, not just for rehabilitating my penis, for gaining girth in my penis, but also for having sex with girls and hookups and stuff like that, to make sure that I have maximal girth, so that I can impress girls and give them the experience of a lifetime. So basically, like, and what I like to do, a little bit of a caveat, a little bit of a, you know, an intro. So what I like to do is I'll sit on my desk and I'll have a window open, and I'll put like some porn on basically, or I'll put them like, I'll look up pictures that my girls have sent me, stuff like that. But most of the time I'll just put a little bit of porn. It's really not a huge deal. It's not, as long as like I don't really masturbate to it. I just use it to get nice and erect. As I mentioned before, I will take Cialis, like about 20, depending on my dosing, I'll either take like 10 or 20 milligrams that day, and right before I pump. And before I pump, and I only really do this if I want to really maximize it. But I'm prescribed with 10 milligrams of Cialis every day. On days that I have a date, I'll take like 20 just to make sure I'm good to go. And I'll take like the 10 or 20 about an hour before. This helps me get a nice erection. And on days that, I always do this like at night, either before I go to sleep or before a date. So I'll put on some porn. I'll sit down here on my chair. I have my big screen TV right in front of me, and I'll put on some porn or some hot chicks here, and I'll start my routine. So what I do is I already have my cylinder all primed. I have my you know, this sleeve here that I used to create a good vacuum seal. And so I have this good to go. I also have lube. So all this, I'll make sure to leave links to all of this. So this is the lube that I use. So yeah, so this is how I start my routine. So I'll go ahead and basically I'm good to go. I have an erection, and I'll just go ahead and hit the start button. So you may hear it. But essentially, okay, so I made a little bit of a mistake. Actually, the tape part, I forget, goes to the cylinder, and the non-tape part goes here. And again, this is because just the fittings have to match the right one, and the tape is just for my own reference. I just happen to have forgotten because I'm making the video. But yeah, this end here will go to the cylinder, and that creates a good seal. Okay, so there. Hopefully the microphone doesn't pick up too much of the noise, but basically you can hear it. It's pretty loud. So if you have like, let me stop this. So if you have roommates or somebody that you care about the noise, then, you know, that may be a problem. It's not that loud. Like, I have neighbors, and it's not loud enough where it'll disturb them or anything like that. But, you know, I live by myself, and it's, you know, I don't really care about the noise, but it does make a bit of a noise, and it also kind of like kind of shakes a little bit. So, yeah, so you just hit start, and that starts. And so I also like to take some of the lube. So I take some of the lube, and you put the lube here, basically put it in the penis, and that kind of helps it. You also put some lube here, and from there you can basically just that creates a seal. And once the device detects that it's at the correct pressure, so if you can see it here, it's so here it tells you the vacuum level that it's at. So it's 2.1. And here's the cool part is if you lose any pressure here, this is going to automatically add more pressure, which is really, really cool. So here it's not losing any pressure, so it's staying here at 2.1. So it has the interesting part is that this has a limit. So it has like an upper limit and a lower limit. So the lower limit is 2, the upper limit is 4. Yeah, basically it stays within that limit of between 4 and 2. So I do that basically just to put it on. Okay, and then I'll hit the stop button, and then I'll go here and I'll go up to 5. I'll go 5, and I'll do that. So basically, as you saw there, it went up to 2, and then it stood there for 2 seconds, and then it went up to 5. So I'll do that for a couple of minutes, you know. So all in this, I'm watching porn. I may like start texting or, you know, swiping on Tinder or whatever I want to do. I can actually multitask. The Cialis helps me maintain the erection. So it's, you know, basically I'm erect. But if you don't, you know, if you don't have an erection, the vacuum will, you know, should let you keep the erection. So I'll do that for a few minutes. After that, I'll just go back here and I'll go up to 7. Okay. So I'll go up to 7. And I'll do that, and so I'll use 7. So you can see it's working its way up to 7. So it stays at like 7.1 here, and it goes up to 7. And it looks like we're running some crazy experiment, which is really, really funny. Yeah, I think, like, you know, looking at this, I should add like another camera so you guys could see my face while you do all this. But, you know, you can just look at the software. It's kind of interesting here. But yeah, so I'll leave it at 7. So notice it's cycling. So after 30 seconds, it goes back down to 2 seconds, then it goes back up to 7 for 30 seconds. So I'll do that for about 5 to 10 minutes. So really depending how I feel. And then I go up to 8. So I'll just stop, press an 8, go here. And a lot of it is feel. Like, how do I feel? Like, does it feel uncomfortable? You know, truth be told, like if I'm injecting and this is the day after the injection, this can be quite painful, to be quite honest. So I may not even pump the next day because it's just, you know, basically the injection site is a little bit sore, and putting this, it's a little bit painful. So I like to, you know, if I'm injecting, I typically don't pump the next day. I'll pump like the following day, or if I do pump, it's just not gonna be as high of a vacuums. I'll just like pump a little bit. So I'll do this for 10 minutes. So basically, I'm working my way up. So I'll do up to 8 for 10 minutes. Then I'll go up to 9, and I'll do that. So I'll go up to 9. So it's working its way up to 9. Okay. So here, Mr. Slappy here is basically feeding 9 inches of mercury here. So I'll go up to 9, and I'll do this for another 10 minutes. I'll hit stop, and you can basically tell how much by the elapsed time. So that's very helpful. And I'll go up to 10. Okay. And I'll do all that. Sometimes if I really want to either impress a girl or whatever, I can go up to like 11, 12. The maximum of the device is actually 13.5 inches of mercury. So there's a safety mechanism built in. So even if you say like you put in like 50 or whatever by mistake, the device itself will not go over. A couple of the downsides, the reason why I have to do this manually is because I cannot just say like, hey, cycle between like, 2 and 10 for 10 minutes, then cycle between 2, like let's say if I was like trying to program this 2 and 8, and then 2 and 9, and then 2 and 10. Like I can't just create cycles here. Like I would want this to be one cycle, another cycle, another cycle, another cycle. One workaround that I did is basically like I'll start with start, then I'll go like M1, and I'll have like different ones. You like M2, maybe like one where or like the end of the session. So that's also a little bit if you want to have like different ones, but it would be great if I could actually create cycles. So I think that's kind of one of the downsides of the software, the limitations of the software. I'm sure like I could probably reverse engineer it and figure out how to program my own thing, but at this point like I'm already very used to just starting off with my start and then going from there. And so yeah, this is basically my routine. It looks like we're fucking making some crazy Frankenstein experiment here, but all in all I'll like pump for about 30 minutes and then I'll call it off. So once you hit the stop button here, it basically releases all the vacuum pressure, and then you can just basically turn it off. I like to just turn it off, and then you can just take it off and you should be all good to go. And there you go. That's my super secret ultimate routine with my most favorite fucking pump of all time. If there's another type of electronic pump that you feel like it's more flexible or cheaper or has software that you can kind of mess around with, or I could even program my routine that I want. The cool thing here about this is that I've seen other automatic pumps, but they come attached to the cylinder, which is dumb because like I want to be able to like switch out and use different cylinders. Maybe I want to outgrow one and you want to use another one. I think LeLuv came up with one that you can attach to different cylinders. I would love to review that one, maybe hopefully in the near future. So if you want to help me, get that device so I can review it, throw some dollars my way in the Cash App. Or the best way that you can support me is just make sure you subscribe right now. And yeah, if you wanna buy one of these, I think it's amazing. If you have the money to be spending, to me, I think I always like to get the best when it comes to PE, the most effective, the easiest to use. This just takes me a minute or so to set up. It's no different than just using a pump, but it just leaves me with my hands basically free. At least I can just have to use one. Sometimes not even that, like it'll just hold and I can like basically text and do other things while I'm watching porn in front of it. And it's very, very effective. Like I absolutely love this fucking pump. It's my favorite pump of all time, as I keep saying it, and I say it for a reason. So if you like this video, if you want to support it, the best way you can support it is make sure you subscribe, leave a like, leave me a comment. What are your thoughts on the DP-4000? Do you think it's too expensive, or do you just like think it's kind of dumb to just go to be throwing money away? Hey, let me know, and make sure you check out these other videos that are relevant to you, and I'll see you next time. Peace.